Waves of destiny. Retreat. How much more could there possibly be? My mind churned, overwhelmed by everything Kweku had already revealed. Dala. The gravity of Nira's bond, the truth about Dax, it all pressed against me, relentless and inescapable. And yet, as I looked at Kweku, his steady gaze unwavering, his word echoed in my mind. More. I swallowed hard, bracing myself as his voice pulled me from the spiral of my thoughts. Now that you have bonded fully with Nira, he began, his voice steady, the best way to ensure her safety completely is for you to come to the sea with me, to live here forever, as my mate. The words struck me like a tidal wave, leaving me reeling. What? The word burst from me, sharp and raw, my voice rising. I stepped back instinctively. My wide eyes searched his face for some hint of jest, but Kweku's expression remained earnest, unwavering. No. The denial escaped before I could stop it, disbelief and confusion swirling inside me. Now you tell me this? That wasn't part of the deal. My heart pounded, my thoughts spiraling as I struggled to make sense of his revelation. I can't live in the sea. The words escaped me, caught somewhere between shock and a desperate question. You can, Amma. You have to. No, I can't. My voice cracked, trembling with the intensity of my emotions. I took a shaky breath, struggling to find my footing. In case you haven't noticed, Kweku, I'm human. That's of no consequence, Kweku said, his tone calm but firm, as though the solution was already decided. Our bond, combined with my essence, will give you what you need to live here in mermaid form. You want to make me a mermaid? My voice sounded weak, the enormity of what he was suggesting slamming into me. My thoughts raced, tangling in confusion and panic as I stared at him, searching for answers I wasn't ready to hear. In the sea, our bond is already considered sacred, Kweku said, his voice as steady as the tide. We are joined in purpose and in essence. On land, you might call it marriage, but to my people, it's destiny. Isn't it natural, Amma, that we would be together, just as land dwellers are, when they have a family and a child? His words wrapped around me like a net, tightening with every syllable. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My thoughts raced, tripping over themselves in confusion and panic. Of course, I know about families, I managed, my voice unsteady, but that's not what I thought would happen. Honestly, I hesitated, the truth bubbling up like something fragile and unwelcome. I never thought that far ahead. I thought I'd be here for Nira for a while, until you could find her a real mother, a mermaid. Kweku's expression softened, his green eyes searching mine. Amma, he said, floating closer, his voice a murmur steeped in conviction. I told you before, there is no mermaid in existence who can compare to you. No one else will do. His words struck me like a wave, pulling me under. My chest tightened, and the enormity of it all bore down on me. But, my voice cracked, my fear spilling out unbidden. You would force me? No, Kweku said gently, reaching for my hand. His touch was warm, grounding, but his eyes held something deeper, an unspoken longing that made my heart ache. I would never force you. This choice is yours to make. But you said I have to. The words erupted from me, trembling with frustration and fear. His silence spoke louder than any reply, his green eyes watching me intently, as though he could see the storm churning inside me. A flicker of something, pain, guilt, crossed his face as he observed my distress. Amma, he began, his voice quieter now. Please understand? Understand? How could I? The words escaped before I could stop them, my voice rising. Why was I angry with him? The thought hit me mid-breath, jarring and unexpected. But it wasn't just anger, it was everything, every feeling tangled together, too much to bear. The fear, the confusion, the pull toward him, it was all spilling over. You dropped me into a world where I'm not even sure which way is up anymore. You said Naira needed to bond with a mother, and I thought that meant protecting her. Not that it meant... My voice faltered, my chest heaving as the weight of everything swirled like a storm inside me. I can't, Kweku. I can't live here. I already have a family, my mom, my dad. I have school tomorrow. Kweku's gaze didn't waver, his presence steady against my chaos. I know this is more than you ever imagined, but you have more strength than you realize, Amma. You've already saved Nira. You've already saved me. His words landed with quiet force, and for a moment, I felt the world still around us. But then a thought cut through the calm, sharp, and cold. What else haven't you told me, Kweku? I whispered, my voice trembling with dread and accusation. Kweku met my gaze, his expression tender. Amma, he began, his tone steady, but holding the weight of yet another truth waiting to be unveiled. Kweku, what else haven't you told me? His silence was telling, his gaze dropping for a fraction of a second before meeting mine again. There was hesitation in his eyes, striking me like an undercurrent pulling at my resolve. It can't be. My voice wavered, alarm rising like a tide. You mean there's more you've been keeping from me? Kweku sighed deeply, the weight of it echoing in the space between us. I'm sorry, Amma, he said, his tone as careful as his measured expression. The apology only heightened my unease, making me hyper-aware of what he might reveal next. Yes, there's more. Like I said, I didn't want to overwhelm you. I wanted to tell you sooner, but it never seemed like the right time. I folded my arms across my chest, forcing my voice to stay steady. Then just say it, Kweku. Whatever it is, get it over with. My heart betrayed me, thudding hard against my ribs. Inside, my thoughts churned. Do I even want to know? And yet, here I am, demanding to hear it. He hesitated, watching me carefully, as though gauging the storm of emotions written across my face. For the first time, I thought he might actually fear what I'd say, or do, once the truth was out. Finally, he spoke. How much do you know about mermaids, Amma? Not much, I admitted. What I've read in books, and then there's you. My brow furrowed. Why? He studied me intently, his gaze steady but unreadable. Do you know about the siren's call? I blinked. The what? The siren's call, he repeated, his voice dropping lower, the songs or sounds mermaids use to lure others, to captivate the heart, to bewitch the senses. Have you heard of it? Well, yes, I said cautiously. It's in stories. A song that makes sailors lose their minds or do things they wouldn't otherwise. Great for drama, sure, but... I trailed off, thinking aloud. It's impossible. Impossible? Kweku's brow rose slightly, a glimmer of disbelief flickering across his face. I squinted at him. Don't tell me you're about to say that stuff is real. His silence stretched, as though he was weighing whether to continue. Then he said, Not everything you've read about mermaids is true, but this is... I stared at him, caught between incredulity and anticipation. The siren's call is real, Amma, he said finally. But what your stories don't tell you is that it begins at birth. It's not some sinister power wielded by a mature mermaid to seduce sailors. It's innate, a predisposition they're born with. From their very first cry, it's there. The siren's call is what binds a mermaid's parents to her, a natural force that ensures their protection while she's at her most vulnerable. It's not just a call to lust. It's a call to love, to nurture, even to obsession. And it doesn't just work on men, it works on women as well. I blinked, my thoughts racing to keep up. Okay. I drew the word out, waiting for more, bracing myself for what was coming. Kweku floated closer, his expression unreadable. Amma, the moment you heard Nira's first coo, her first gurgle, you were hearing her siren's call. It's part of what drew you to her. Some of the pull you felt toward her, It's because of that. I stood there frozen, his words sinking into me like ice water. For a long moment, I couldn't process what he was saying, and then, "You mean—" My breath caught as understanding dawned. "You mean you used your own infant daughter to siren me?" The accusation hung heavy in the air, but I couldn't retract it. The look on Kweku's face, a mix of regret and quiet resolve, confirmed it. "Oh my God," I whispered, stepping back as wave after wave of realization crashed over me. You manipulated me. All this time, none of this was free will. I can't believe this." Kweku reached for me, his voice steady but layered with quiet urgency. "Amma, listen to me. The call didn't force you. It simply opened a door. Everything you've felt, everything you've done, that came from you." I shook my head, the words ricocheting in my mind. "How can I know that? How can I ever know that now?" Kweku drifted toward me, slow and deliberate, until there was hardly any water left between us. The space around us seemed to warm, charged with something electric and unseen, as though the ocean itself had stilled to watch. His eyes locked onto mine, and the intensity in them struck me like a current. I startled under the weight of it. He looked at me with such raw emotion, such love and longing, that I could hardly breathe. His hand rose to my chin, gentle but sure, tilting my face toward his. His touch burned softly, grounding me in the chaos swirling inside. "I don't need a siren's call to capture your heart," he said, his voice low and warm, like a secret only I could hear. "And without it, Amma, you already love me. You fight yourself because you're afraid, but now, once and for all, say it. Say it out loud. Say you love me." His words wrapped around me, sinking deep. My thoughts, so loud, so quick only moments ago, sputtered to a stop, like a flame smothered by wind. I couldn't look away. My gaze locked with his, caught in the warmth that radiated from him, and it struck me. He was right. I'd never said it. I opened my mouth to speak, to offer anything in return, but no words came. I was struck silent. The way he was looking at me, like I was everything, like he needed my answer, not out of pride, but out of longing, out of hope. His eyes searched mine with a quiet urgency, and the question beneath them rang through me like a bell underwater. "Love you?" The words echoed inside me, foreign and forbidden, like something I wasn't supposed to want, wasn't supposed to feel. How could he say it so easily, so boldly, as if it were already true? I wanted to push it away, to scoff, deny it, tell him he was wrong. But the part of me that always reached for him when I was worried, the part that calmed in his presence, that ached when he wasn't there, that part didn't flinch. It leaned toward him. God help me. What if he was right? "I am right." His voice, not out loud but in my mind, slid through me like a whisper I wasn't ready for. My breath caught in my throat. He was listening. I jerked back, startled, the heat of his closeness suddenly too much. My hand flew to my chest as if I could shield it, shield my thoughts, my feelings, from spilling into him. "Stop listening!" I shouted, sharper than I intended. The words sliced through the water like a crack of thunder. Kweku blinked, startled, not by anger, but by how deeply I'd startled myself. I hadn't meant to shout. I hadn't meant to pull away. It was just that. What was he asking me to say? That I loved him? Across the growing space between us, his expression didn't harden. If anything, it softened, like the tide easing back from the shore. "There's nothing to hide, Amma," he said gently, his voice low and steady. "I've already heard your heart. You don't have to be afraid of this." He drifted forward again, slowly, not touching me, just close enough that I could feel the steady pull of him. "Say it," he whispered. "Say it out loud." I said nothing, frozen, bewitched by his closeness, by the way his voice sank into the water between us like silk, deep, seductive, impossible to ignore. When I didn't answer, he spoke again, quieter this time. Amma, I came to you because I want you. Not just for Naira, but for me. My breath caught. My mind spun. He had told me he loved me, again and again, and yet I had never said it back. Not once. Did I love him? Could I love him this soon? How could I tell if it was real? If what I felt wasn't some shimmering illusion, spun from moonlight and magic. Just another thread in the surreal tapestry that was Kweku. His gentleness, his strength, his impossible beauty, those green eyes, the deep onyx of his skin, dreadlocks flowing like dark silk in the water. It all felt too perfect, too unreal. Was it love or infatuation? I can't, I whispered, my voice trembling with the truth I couldn't shape. How do I know it's completely my choice? Kweku didn't flinch. You know you love me, Amma, he said softly. You're just afraid to stop questioning it. But your heart already knows. You've loved me from the very beginning because you recognized me, just as I recognized you. I stepped back, emotions churning beneath my skin. Kweku was still watching me, so intensely, so steadily, that I could barely breathe under the weight of it. It's all too much, I said, my voice tight, barely containing the chaos surging inside me. Meanwhile, Kweku stared calmly, as if he hadn't just unraveled my entire world. Love him? What did that even mean right now? I thought of what he'd revealed, of the sea, the life he wanted me to step into without warning, to live here, forever, as his mate. It would mean leaving my parents, my life, my future. What about school, my career, everything I'd planned? And now, he lays it all before me like a path already chosen. After everything, after the bond, I couldn't take it. I couldn't breathe. And then I snapped. I want to go home. The words burst from me before I could stop them, sharp, loud, and trembling with emotion. They seemed to catch Kweku off guard. He blinked, as if trying to steady himself, but I didn't give him the chance. Take me home, now! I was shouting, my voice echoing off the water, each word more frantic than the last. From that moment to the shoreline was a blur. I barely registered the way he guided me gently to the sand. Everything inside me felt too loud, too fast. Then I whirled back to him, arms outstretched, my demand slicing through the moment. Give her to me. Kweku hesitated, just for a heartbeat, surprised again. But I saw it, the moment he chose to comply. Without a word, he lifted Naira from the water, her tiny form already squirming toward me, crying out for me. He placed her gently in my arms. I spun away from him, sharp and graceless. I didn't look back. I couldn't. My chest burned with too many feelings I couldn't untangle. My feet found the door, before my mind did, and I slammed it shut behind me, putting distance between us, between me and the intensity I couldn't bear to feel. I had tried to lose myself in half-hearted routines all day, folding clothes that didn't need folding, reorganizing books I had read, but none of it worked. My thoughts still churned, tangled beyond repair. I couldn't escape Kweku's revelations, or the echo of his voice asking me to leave my world behind. By nightfall, the weight of it all had only deepened, pressing on my chest. The soft glow of moonlight spilled across my room, casting quiet shadows. I sat cross-legged on the bed, cradling Naira in my lap. Her tiny fingers tugged playfully at my necklace, her innocent giggles curling into the silence like a balm I didn't deserve. I looked down at her, brushing a curl from her forehead. So, did you really siren me? I whispered, not expecting an answer. She only cooed in response, her eyes gleaming with quiet mischief. I sighed. If I asked you to let me go, would you? Her silence was as profound as her smiles were enchanting. Kweku's words circled like a current in my mind. To keep her safe, you have to come to the sea. Live there forever. Be my mate. I looked at Nira, her wide eyes reflecting the silver moonlight. You're asking me to leave everything I know, I murmured. I don't know if I can stretch that far. I brushed my fingers along her cheek. When I first saw you, I didn't believe what you were, not until I held you, and I thought I was doing a good job of accepting all this. I exhaled shakily. But I never saw myself as part of it. I want to protect you, I do, but I can't just leave my life here. And let's not forget, your uncle is terrifying. Land is where I'm safe. She gurgled at me. I don't trust your gurgles. Stop with the gurgles, I muttered, smiling despite myself. But she didn't stop. So that's a yes? I asked, voice half amusement, half dread. You'll let me go? More gurgles. I can't even be mad at you. If only you weren't so completely adorable. Right now, I just feel so overwhelmed. Overwhelmed didn't even begin to cover it. Maybe I should have drawn up a formal contract after all, I muttered aloud. Then, I froze. The sound of tires crunching into the driveway reached my ears. My parents. Their arrival was earlier than usual. I heard the familiar jingle of keys, the click of the front door, and then the heavy thud of my mother's purse hitting the hallway table. But what truly set my heart racing was the sharp click-clack of her heels against the stairs. Fast. Faster than normal. Her steps didn't pause between floors. If anything, they sped up. Shoot! I jumped up, panicked. With Naira in my arms, I raced into the bathroom, gently placing her in the tub. Be very quiet, just for a minute, okay? I whispered. She blinked up at me, tail swishing faintly in the water. I eased the door shut. Then the bedroom door burst open. My mother appeared in a gust of motion, face flushed from her breathless climb, her chest rising and falling. She didn't even knock. There was a paper clenched in her hand. I knew that paper. How did you fail? My mother demanded, her voice trembling with disbelief as she fumbled with the paper in her hands. She unfolded it hastily, creased and crumpled from how tightly she'd been gripping it. My school's logo flashed at the top, and then blurred letters, a column of indistinct grades that made my stomach twist. Amma, how could you fail? She asked again, louder this time, as if saying it once hadn't made it real. I stood frozen, as if watching myself from the outside, my breath caught in my throat. My exams? My voice came out faint, flat. The reality of it struck like a crashing wave. I failed? I had never failed anything in my life, not a quiz, not a test. And this? My final exams? Everything I had worked toward, college, independence, being the daughter they could rely on, it cracked right there, splintering beneath the weight of that single damning word. I failed? My voice broke. My mother's expression was livid, yes, she said, but behind it I saw confusion, pain. What happened to you? She asked, shaking the paper. This is not you, Amma. Mom, I struggled, breath shallow. The walls of the room seemed to close in. Everything tilted. The room was spinning. Why couldn't I breathe? Then, a faint splash. My mother's eyes darted to the bathroom door. Her gaze narrowed. Who's in there? My heart slammed against my ribs. What? Her eyes locked on the closed door. Is there a boy in there? No, I blurted out, but it was too late. She was already moving. No, Mom, wait, please. She didn't wait. Her voice turned steely. Ama serwa asante. Move away from the door. I stood in front of it instinctively. Big mistake. Her eyes blazed. You failed your exams because of boys? She snapped. I've warned you. Panic surged. If she sees Nira's tail, what then? How could I even begin to explain what she was? My mother didn't believe in anything she couldn't see, solve, or explain. She had no patience for fantasy, no space in her mind for anything outside the bounds of science or reason. To her, the world was concrete, predictable. But Naira? Naira was the kind of thing my mother would only expect to find in bedtime stories or whispered folklore, not her daughter's bathtub. If she saw that tale, if she really saw her, what would she do? Call someone? Take her away? She wouldn't understand. She couldn't. She was too rooted in what was real, her version of real, to even begin to imagine something beyond it. And if she thought I was slipping out of that world, that I'd lost touch completely, I didn't know what she would do. And that terrified me. And as for why Naira was here, what would I say? Mom, meet your mermaid granddaughter? She'd think I'd lost my mind. My mother shoved past me, flinging the door open and stepping inside. I was right on her heels, my heart thudding so violently I thought she might hear it. Her eyes swept the room, scanning for a boy, her gaze sharp, searching. Then came a faint splash from the tub, followed by the glint of something not quite human in the water. Her gaze jerked downward, following the flash of movement. She froze. I watched her closely, too closely, watched her eyes land on Naira's tiny form nestled in the bathtub. Naira blinked up at her from the water, gurgling softly. For a moment, confusion painted Mom's face, her brows drawing together as if her mind couldn't quite piece together what it was seeing. Then her gaze dropped, and found the green tail curling gently beneath the surface, catching the bathroom light in brilliant arcs. I saw it in her expression, saw the moment her brain caught up with her eyes. Disbelief, then realization, then something else entirely. A quicksilver cascade of emotions flickered across her face, disorientation, dread, something bordering on horror, until it settled into a kind of visceral alarm, the kind that grabs your instincts before your logic can respond. Her body stiffened, her breath hitched. She took half a step back, staring at Naira as if her mind refused to process what her eyes were seeing. I rushed forward, stepped between them like a living barrier, not just to block Mom's view, but to shield Naira from my mother's unraveling thoughts, from the disbelief tightening behind her eyes. My mother's voice came out low, brittle. What? What is that?